Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 3. Hope you're all doing well today and looking forward to today's transfer special episode, which is very exciting today. After finishing 6th in La Liga last season, we need to prepare for life in the Europa League. Europa League football coming up this season, so we need a team that can both compete in the league and in European football. So lots of transfers hopefully coming up today. First things first though, would hugely appreciate it if you could press that subscribe button, because of course that is the most important thing right now. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. We're 20 away as I record this from 19,000. So hopefully by like the end of April, we should be around that 20,000 mark. That would be absolutely insane. Also make sure you do drop a like on the video for me, and also make sure you do drop a like on the video and leave a comment down below as well, letting me know who your favourite transfer is. So first things first, let's have a look at how much money we have been given. We've been given £19 million to spend on players, but importantly, we've been given a huge increase in the wage budget to £437,000 per week. So that is going to be crucial. We can give players some bigger wages, but also we can actually push some of this wage budget into the transfer budget if we need to sign some other players we're trying to get in today's episode. The bank balance, as you can see, currently sitting at £36 million. I think it's just gone down. We've just put the money out for the new stadium expansion. However, obviously we asked for a stadium expansion. They were going to expand it to 16,000 or so. We then got another message coming through saying, no, it's going to be nearly 17,000 or so. So more stadium expansion happening. I'm not quite sure why they've said more. I'm not quite sure what the limit of our stadium expansion is. So right now, I'm a bit confused, if I'm honest with you, but at least we get more people in the stadium for about the same price we're spending on the expenditure. You join me on the 13th of June, which is not a particularly significant day, until you realise what's come through the news inbox today. We start off with a very difficult dilemma here in the Lincoln Loco 3, and that is Tottenham making a huge £7.25 million, rising to £8.5 million bid for Lukaku. Now, I'll tell you what, it's thrown me off because I think that's a very good offer that we should be listening to. Lukaku, of course, our young 20-year-old, was left back, but has kind of developed to be better as a centre-back. And his 3-star current ability, 4.5 stars potential. However, he's not yet La Liga level, according to our head of youth development, who's very good at knowing how good players are, essentially. He also counts towards being a homegrown player at the club. We need apparently 4 for the continental competition, and we currently only have 3. So we'd obviously lose him as a homegrown player. So it's very important to keep hold of him, but at the same time, the money is good. However, I don't think it's good enough yet. He's got a minimum fee release clause of £21 million. He is desperate to talk to Tottenham and Inter Milan, who also wants him, apparently. So if there's more clubs that want him, if we look at the transfer status, right, Inter and Tottenham both want him, let's try and cause a bit of a bidding war here. We're going to reject this for now, and hopefully he won't get too cross, but hopefully we get some bigger bids coming in further down the line. So obviously we need to focus on players to bring into the team, and we could do with players in every position, if I'm honest with you. You know, we can always do with better players than what we already have. However, there are some areas in a little bit more need of additions than other areas of the squad. Now, we are changing the system a little bit this season. We're going to move to an attacking midfielder this season because, of course, we do already have, as spoken about in yesterday's episode or Sunday's episode, Idrissa Ferdinand joining us. He's coming in from the Ivory Coast. Looks like a phenomenal talent at 19 years old. To pick him up on a free transfer is fantastic as well. So he's going to join us as our attacking midfielder. So that's one position kind of sorted, and we can forget about CDMs for a little bit. So we don't have to worry about that position at all. However, we still need to think about wingers and wing backs and centre backs and basically everyone else, actually, if I'm being honest with you. Looking at the squad depth, I think left wing is going to be a priority. I think we might try and get David Perez back, but I'd like to see Paulo Turner make that right wing position his own this season. But then again, behind him, there's not a lot of depth after Paulo Turner. So Perez might be coming back on loan again. We'll think about that one. What that means, though, is that we have no one on the left-hand side, really. So left wing is a huge priority for me. As good as Stransky is, I think we could maybe do a bit better than Stransky. And as good as Galina is, he's only in on loan. We could try and get him back again or permanently, but we should be looking for a more permanent solution at right back. So both full-back positions are very important. And again, even centre-back, Hannahson's good, but of course we did lose a couple of players last season in Ingerson. Giannis joined us, but he's not a world beater. He was a sort of short-term solution, so centre-back could be decent as well. And if we have anything left over after that, we could be doing with like a world-class centre midfielder. So plenty of positions to be looking through, but I think the priority to start off with is left wing. I have been doing plenty of scouting, trying to look for players who are interested in signing for us, who are decent as well. And I think top of my list right now is this winger from Cluj in Romania. Andreas Shomlina looks pretty decent. His crossing is only 10, so not the best crosser of the ball in the world, but everything else that he has sort of makes up for it. And I think he will be relatively cheap as well. Fairly professional personality, which is really good for tutoring. Obviously has a very good right foot to play as that inverted winger or inside forward. That's what we like to play on that left-hand side of the pitch. So for me, I think the first bid we need to be making tonight is for this guy. So he's valued at 2.7 million. Let's suggest and see what they want for him. They've come back saying they want 4.3 million pounds, 550,000 pounds after 10 league goals, and then 20% in the future. Well, let's remove that 20% one first and foremost. Let's bring the fee down to 3.5 million. And I'll be honest, after 20 league goals, you can have half a million. How does that sound? They like the sound of that. Okay, that sounds good to me. In terms of left backs, there are a couple of options out there. The first one is, I really don't quite know if we should be doing this one or not. I don't think we should be, but if anything, he could be the right winger backup that we might need in case Paulo Turner doesn't play particularly well. This chap, Dejan from Ludogorets in Bulgaria, is a left back with a very weak left foot, a very strong right foot, so plays as an inverted wing back, but is also a right midfielder slash winger. I don't know. His attributes look really good, right? They look really good. Well, I say maybe a bit average, I don't know. I can't quite make my mind up about him, all right? That's the weird thing. He's got 4-star current ability, 5-star potential according to the scouts. There's no real weakness in his play apart from his corners and free kick taking, dead ball situations, but obviously you've got specialists for that in the team. Same with penalty taking as well. Positioning might be a little bit low, as is bravery, but everything else is pretty solid across the board. It's just, I don't want to play an inverted wing back. I don't really see how that one works particularly well. Although he can play as a complete wing back, and he can provide cover on the right hand side. So maybe that would. I just don't. How much do they want for him? Let's ask the agent about his availability first and foremost. 1.5 million, all right. He's worth a punt, I feel, even just for the potential. You know, worth a punt maybe. Let's offer 1 million, right? They want 4.3. Well, okay. Well, that might... I don't want to pay much for him, like 2 million at most. And I don't think we're going to get that 2 million. So for me, despite... I know, we can't do it. I just have no faith that a right-footed left-back is going to be particularly good for us, particularly with a Paul groin recurring injury as well. If we scroll a little further down, there's another guy on my shortlist here, Jarni Groen, playing in Belgium right now. However... he's 25, his potential ability is not going to reach that, his current ability maybe not quite so good. He's basically a copy of what we already have, and we don't need a copy of what we already have in of course, Stransky. The alternative is 18-year-old David Nezovic, who currently plays for Hajduk Split in Croatia. A wing-back, only 18 years old, so will improve. Current ability is as good right now as Stransky, apparently. Potentially could be better. Not really a complete wing-back, which is what Stransky likes to be, but wing-back's still pretty decent. Transfer, ask agent about availability. We're looking at a high fee, apparently, so he's not going to be cheap. How much they want for him? He's valued at £32,000. They want £14 million. Right, we can't have him. So for me, we might need to do a little bit more scouting on players in... So for me, we might need to do a little bit more scouting out of players to play at left back. If we switch to the other side of the fullback, the right back positioning, there are some really good players here. However, we'd have to end up using a non-EU nationality spot, which is very hard to come by because we only have 3 of them. And I think obviously Ferdinand takes up 1 of them. I think we might only have 1 more after that, if I can remember correctly. So we have to be very careful with who we're buying in. However, what I do like is the look of this chap. Now, we don't have a full scout report on him yet, but he plays in Argentina, capped at under 19 level, plays for Independiente, which will be quite cheap. His crossing and dribbling, we don't know much about yet, but must be quite decent. Determination is 20. I really like what I see with this guy, and I think he could be that long-term replacement for Galina. For a deal between 1.7 and 3.3 million, I feel like we are going in a little bit blind on him. However, I think it might be worth doing. So 1.1 million. Let's also just add in percentage profit from next sale, remove and exclude. Suggest terms. They want 3.3 million and then an extra £54,000 per league appearance. Let's remove and exclude that, right? Bring this down to 2.5 million. Suggest. They accept. I think that's a good deal. And then thinking about centre-backs, I feel like we can maybe put a little bit more money out there for some of these players. But unfortunately, a lot of the really good ones, again, are non-EU players out there. So I'm looking at this guy from Mexico, for example. We don't know much about him just yet, but he could be solid. I'm liking that determination of 15 to 19. I think we need to know a little bit more about him before we make any bids for him. But this is the kind of thing I mean, like we're finding some really decent players from abroad. At the very top of the list, though, is a 21-year-old centre-back playing for Inter Milan. He is going to be insanely expensive, I imagine. Transfer, ask agent about availability. Inter may not be willing to sell at all, so let's maybe try and get him. Transfer, make an offer. How much if we suggest terms? 80 million, they say. That is certainly not happening. Another centre-back here from Italy, currently on loan at Rijeka from Napoli. And yeah, heading 13, marking 13, tackling 14 is a little bit low. For where we are right now as a club, that's not bad at all. The scouts reckon he would be the best centre-back at the club as well. He's got good determination, good teamwork and work rates. His physicals are really decent as well, actually. So for me, valued at £7.75 million, he might be a bit expensive. How much do Napoli want for him? They say yes to 7.75. So for me, I feel like we could be making a mistake here. I'll cancel that and then go back in again for cheaper. I'll click continue and come back in for him cheaper tomorrow, but I think that might be a bit of a mistake. I think they're going to go more expensive now that I've accepted and rejected that, essentially. Before we do that, we can offer contracts to the two players who have had bids accepted on them so far. So the Romanian winger, he wants £14,000 to £20,000 a week. We can afford that sort of thing now. As a squad player, that does suggest to me he doesn't really back himself to be great, but I back him to be great. I think he'll be good. Wants the club to be a stepping stone, that's fine, because he has to have a minimum fee release clause in there anyway. £16,000? Yeah, that seems good to me. Let's drop it down a little bit to like 13k. Signing on fee's a little high. Let's go to 350k. Agent fee will push it up to hopefully get him to accept those bids because the agent gets more money if he does that. £60,000 there. And we will get rid of that unused substitute fee. £11 million release fee clause is fine. Suggest terms. He's back up to 16k. Let's get it down to 13.5, 350. And again, come on, 350, 13.5. He accepts. The right back coming in from Independiente looks like a pretty decent contract. Only fringe player though, which again suggests to me he doesn't really back himself, which maybe makes me think at least our scouts haven't quite done their due diligence on him. But I will finalise those promises, negotiate the contract. He wants £7,000 a week. That's very cheap in the grand scheme of things. Let's go down to like £5,000 though to just really get him down there. Get rid of these wages after certain games and the unused substitute fee. Suggest that to want loads. Oh, he's just rejected it completely. Okay. We might have dodged a bullet there if he didn't back himself, right? If he didn't think he was any good, like he came back to us saying, I'm only going to be a fringe player. That might suggest he's no good. We'll keep scouting him out anyway and see what happens when we come back to him later on. In the meantime, that's centre-back. Let's go back to Napoli and offer out, let's go £4 million. Suggest. They now say that's unacceptable. Oh, I've really messed this one up now, haven't I? 6 million. Let's put the bid in for 6 million, but I think I've messed that one up a little bit. There's still plenty of players to be scouted out though, so we'll wait for some more reports to come through, but hopefully we've made a bit of a dent into our transfer budget by hopefully signing this guy, but Levante also want him. We're better than Levante, so hopefully he'll want to join us instead. Napoli rejecting the bid of £6 million. We're going to have to go back to 7.75, aren't we? That does seem a little too much. If I press suggest, they are happy with that. Do I think that's a good deal? It might be a bit much, if I'm honest with you, and his personality is not that great as a realist. I think we cancel it, actually, and we come back later on if we are panicking. I think maybe to alleviate some pressure on the right wing, we go in for David Perez on loan once more. We know he's good, we know he's solid, but this season I feel confident that we could maybe drop him to a backup player this time around, and we could obviously use him if things don't go well, but I want Paulo Turner to be the main man on that right hand side. So it's a cheap option for us, we're not spending any money. Very minimal on the contract as well. We know he's good, but for more backup purposes this season, David Perez, let's try and get him back. And given that he is fantastic, and I don't think we're actually going to be able to buy in better, I do want to maybe see if we can get Galina back in on loan again. Let's make an offer, right? Loan offer. There, want to give him a chance in the first team. Let's make the bid anyway, because sometimes they just say yes anyway and he comes to us. But we'll make the bid, and that happened last season actually. I think they said the same thing with Galina last season, and he came to us anyway. I know it's a bit of a cop-out getting those guys back in again, but it's what we usually do in these situations. It's what we usually do. It will save some budget to go in for other areas, as Watford want to spend £9 million on Sione. You're not having him for £9 million. If he's ever going to leave, it's going to be for that minimum fee release clause, although I think he might want to start thinking about leaving, but maybe not to Watford, because Watford aren't a Champions League or Europa League club, so I think he'd be happy to stay with us. The offer of Galina has been accepted, the offer of Perez has been accepted, so hopefully they come back to us, and that's a little bit less to think about. Tyson Brown has just signed his new contract as well, of course, our own wonder kid who's come through, 16 years old now, absolutely incredible. He will start a lot next season. But now that Sione bid has come in, it has got me thinking, we should probably start to think about letting some players go. Nikita Razakin being the prime candidate. I don't really mind how much he goes for. He was an experiment, a cheap experiment, and he's not really worked out for us. He scored plenty of goals for Barté last season, but just wasn't doing anything for us. And as you can see from his reports, is not particularly good now either. So let's offer him to clubs, unspecified amounts, see if anyone wants to buy him. I'm going to say the same with Veroni, who is expensive, £3.5 million, and he's not played well, and he's been injured for a long time, long-term injuries. It's just not quite worked out with him. So again, I feel like I don't want to have to do it, but I'm going to have to do it. Offer him out to clubs. Gostas too. Gostas not quite being the man we need him to be in that CDM spot. He's not really developed properly. So again, transfer, offer to clubs, and see if he wants to leave the club. And I'm tempted to maybe put Martin Ramos out. He's really not developed at all. We spent £725,000 on him, so not a huge amount of money, but he's not really given us the return. However, he is currently the best left wing we've got, so we need to keep him at the club for now until we get someone better in. Good news though, Gostas, clubs want him, but not for a lot of money, unfortunately. How much did we spend on Gostas? Only £250,000, so it represents a loss, but it's a small price to pay for an experiment gone wrong. So let's just get him out of the club, save the money on the wages. No one wants Veroni, which is a bit annoying, and no one wants Gisk either. Okay, let's wait till the window actually opens. We might get some more luck then. Good news though, the winger is coming in for £3.5 million, so we'll accept that, and fingers crossed he turns out to be good. Galina is set to join us again for next season. That's fantastic. He's probably better than any right back we could have bought into the club, and I still will look for a right back to bring in to kind of be his understudy and to develop to be better than him in the future. But to get Galina in is actually superb. And Perez also set to sign for us for another season on loan. But again, he will be more backup this season, I would imagine, because I do actually want to try and start playing Paulo Turner there a bit more. So I guess in some kind of good news, Gostas leaving the club for £99,000. That does represent a £150,000 loss. But it's a small price to pay on a relatively cheap experiment. So as we tick over into the 1st of July, Idrissa Ferdinand should be here, which is fantastic, as well as, of course, our new winger. So let's see what happens when we press continue and see how good these two players look. And 2 new signings are confirmed. Idrissa Ferdinand is fantastic. I am so pleased we've got him in on a free transfer as well. I can't believe how lucky we got with that. Again, for all the bad the scouts do by not doing their due diligence on a lot of players, every now and again they find someone really random in Iceland or in the Ivory Coast who comes in to be incredible. Very happy with this one. Andreas maybe not looking quite as good as the scouts kind of predicted, but for me he does represent a step up from the previous player Ramos we had, so I think it's alright. And lots of bids are going in for this wonder kid from Barcelona. I'll be honest, I kind of want to get in on that. If other teams want him in our division, I want in on him as well. So let's make an offer to loan this wonder kid as well, because what, 24 grand? Yeah, we can pay his wages. Let's go for it. Cultural Leonessa, they want Marty Gonzalez in on loan. If I'm honest with you, I think Marty Gonzalez can probably leave the club. They're playing far too low down for him as well. So we're going to reject that. And I think Marty Gonzalez is now, it's his time to leave the club essentially. In the meantime, let's have a quick look actually at who is now, if we clear this, available. Clear this, please. Come on, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Come on. There we go. And we go to expired, right? Go to expired and see who's available. Quite a few people by the look of things. Right at the top, this guy, Bernard, is a deep-lying playmaker. 16 first touch, 17 passing. The rest of the technicals aren't great, but some good mentals and physicals. Has just been playing at Rijeka in Croatia. It's a free transfer. I feel like that could be a decent one. Regular starter, wants to strengthen defenders. Let's get rid of that because I don't want to do that. And also bring in a player to help him settle. Remove that as well. Suggest he's happy with that. He wants quite a lot, £28,000 a week. Let's bring it down to like £20,000, but a big release fee clause. Okay, that's good. Sell on percentage fee. Let's get rid of that as well. Suggest 27. Let's bring it down to £20,000 again. He says 23.5. We say 22.5. He says yes. Okay, another centre mid. Are there any good centre backs on this list? Yes, there is this guy from China who he's been on my radar for a while, if I'm honest with you, but never quite. It's that lack of heading and marking and tackling. It just seemed a bit too low to me to him to be decent. So maybe not. If we get rid of the interested in transfer bit, all of a sudden there's players like Valverde, Hernandez who are coming up. Do any of these guys want to join us? No, I didn't think they would do. Let's have a look on the transfer list then. There's a few players here who could be decent, but I don't know. A lot of them are goalkeepers as well. That's the annoying bit. There's a few goalkeepers on here who look quite decent. Any centre-backs on the transfer list? Not many. Not many that we've got scouted out at least. If we sort it by value, there's a few more available who I think will get scout reports on, but I'm not holding my breath for any of these guys being any good. I really want this guy from Inter Milan. Really, really want him, but they're just not going to let us have him, are they? Like, ask agent about availability. He wants to come to us, but it's just that they don't want to sell him, which is understandable. Let's say 10 mil, right? 10 million. Suggest, they say 72. Right. How about a loan offer? They say yes to a loan with a monthly playing fee of 2. Okay, we're not getting him on loan. There's maybe a good centre-back here. He's more of a CDM, right? This guy from Croatia. But has the ability to play centre-back very comfortably. Very comfortably as a ball-playing centre-back. Maybe a little slow. Well, I think he's all right. Transfer. Ask agent about availability. Dinamo don't want to sell him. That's the story of our transfer window so far, isn't it? Let's put 2.5 million on the table. They want 15 million. Oh, jeez. Betis are making an offer for Marti Gonzalez. I'll tell you what, we need to get him gone. So we'll accept that offer from Betis. Razakin, he's had an offer from a team called Castellon. Again, we'll accept this because we need to get him gone out of the team. There's a couple of clubs putting some loan bids in for Veroni. No one wants to buy him permanently, so loan might be the best option. Andorra want him. If you can pay us like 100% of his wages, suggest terms, they say no to that. Okay, that's not quite so good. Ponferrada, they'll pay 50% of his wages. Can we say 50, please? Suggest. Yep, they'll do 50. Let's accept that one then. Let's accept that. What? I can't believe this. England want me as their manager. They want to replace Paulo Sousa. What? I'll be honest, I'm flattered, England. I'm flattered by this. But if I'm honest with you, I'm going to have to reject it. This is the Lincoln Loco, not the England Loco. The only country I would consider managing in this save is Gibraltar. So I'll say no to England, but that is flattering that they want me. Kind of just want to wait on the two centre mids that we've got, hopefully signing for us before I make any more bids. I've missed out on that centre back from Napoli. Have I? Oh no, Bologna just want him. Bologna and Levante want him. I'll be honest, I'm not really seeing many other centre-backs who are better. So although his personality isn't great, I do think he could offer decent value for money, all right? So 7.75 million is what it's going to take. We've now got to wait for Napoli to actually make a decision on that. So we'll make the offer again for him. In the meantime, we say goodbye to Marty Gonzalez, who's going to Betis, who got relegated again last season. Hopefully, he becomes a good keeper for them. Annoyingly, one of those centre mids that we wanted, the guy on a free transfer, has gone to Levante instead of us. Why would he do that? They finish 8th below us in the table and don't have European football. That's frustrating. Razakin also leaving the club for £185,000. So not big offers coming in for these players, obviously, as Granada want Kenneth Gisk. I'll be honest, Kenneth Gisk really impressed me in the second half of the season. 11 goals in 20 appearances is not bad going. So for me, I don't really want to sell him anymore, as Espanyol want Axel Carter. Axel Carter being one of the young guys that came through. He's got a contract offer on the table, but I'm getting a bit concerned now though, because clubs are trying to bid for him, which is a little worrying. We need to focus on centre backs though. That's the main thing. Just even one centre back basically to be alongside Hannesson. That would be the best. But we need someone good. So maybe we do just wait on the guy from Napoli. He'd be good to bring in. If we get rid of the interested in transfer bit, right? More good players come up, but obviously they're going to be more expensive. Although saying that, there's a guy here, right, playing in Argentina, 21 years old, no nonsense centre back. How good is he? Passing, he could be a ball player, you know. He could be decent. His pace a little bit low, but everything else looks good. Obviously, apparently he doesn't want to sign for us, but he must have some sort of minimum fee release clause in there. 4.7 to 9 million. He wants 63 grand a week, which is a bit too expensive for us, but it's worth making the bid of like 3.5 million. They say 9. Let's bring it down to 4.5. Suggest 7.5. It's still cheaper than the guy from Napoli at 5.5 million. And then they want, after league appearances, let's get rid of that 6 million. Suggest. They accept. Amazing. Or was a Brazilian wing-back? Is he a wing-back? I don't really know. We don't know much about him. But again, let's get more on him. Let's find out more about him. He could be all right. There's actually quite a lot here of players who apparently just aren't interested in signing for us. So, I mean, it's worth trying to put a few bids in. There's a wonder kid here from Hamburg who I doubt will be interested in signing for us. No, he doesn't care about it at all. Okay, so there are some bids in for some centre-backs. The one has just been accepted from Independiente. Does he want to talk contracts with us? He does. But a big contract, a very big contract. Star player is fine. Negotiate. Oh, he only wants 27. It said like he wanted like 50, didn't he? Let's be cheeky and drop it to 25, right? But we want him to sign. He's 21, looks really good, actually. Really, really good. I don't want to mess it up, basically. So in fact, actually, I might go back up to 27. I might go back up to 27. Get rid of that yearly wage rise, but keep everything else the same, right? Suggest he's happy. I think that's good. And he's also cheaper than the guy coming in from Napoli. So I feel like the Napoli one, and he's better as well. I feel like we cancel the guy from Napoli. Obviously, it's going to take up an extra. The guy as well from Barcelona is going to Villarreal. So we've not got any of the centre mids that we wanted. So back in for centre mids. I can't talk tonight, can I? Back in for centre mids after this defender hopefully signs for us. So the board have come to us and they've said, this is what you've got to do this season. We've got to attempt to be competitive in the Europa League. We've got to be mid-table in La Liga and reach the 4th round minimum of the Copa del Rey. 5th round, do we get any more budget? Virtually no more budget, so we'll leave it at the 4th round. Veroni is off to go and play his football next season at Cultural Leonessa, so that's good for us. Hopefully he has a good season and either becomes really good or adds to his value and we can sell him. Getafe are now interested in Lucao. We'll see if any bids come in. They want him on loan. No, you can't have him on loan. No, you're not having him on loan at all. Napoli now want £8 million for the guy from Napoli. No, we don't want you anymore. We don't want you. Get out of here. We're rejecting that bid. For me, in the general system that we're going to play, this isn't going to be the finalised product, obviously, but in the general positions, right, we want Sione up front. We want to have Paulo Turner on the wing. We want to be starting Shomlea on the left-hand side, Idrissa through the middle. We've got, obviously, Galina at right-back. I'd like to play Hannesson on the left-hand side of centre-back. Where is he? Down there, apparently. That's interesting. And apparently Lucao is right up there as our best centre-back. Not sure about that one. Hannesson will stay there. So we can still do with left-backs, although Andre and Lucao can fight that one out. And, of course, in goal, Krenta. In terms of centre mids, we do have Pascal, who's good. We've got Dusan Lalovic. Of course, these are more playmaker roles, aren't they, for Lalovic? So if we switch that up to somebody like a deep line playmaker, for example, all of a sudden Lalovic looks pretty good. Scott Murphy looks pretty good. Tyson Brown looks very good. So actually, we do have a pretty good centre mid. But obviously, we could do with more players there. So still on the hunt for centre mids, left backs and centre backs. I want to hear more about our new centre back, though, coming in from Independiente. Like, can he join us now, please? I'm kind of, expecting him to arrive, and that should be all right. The longer I have to wait, I get a little bit scared. But here he is. He's ready to sign for us, just as I was getting a little bit worried about it. Brian Araya, arriving in from Independiente, which I feel like I'm saying wrong, but I'm thinking that way now. Let's accept it then. Let's accept it. The young 21-year-old is coming in to us. How good is he? Pretty good. Not quite the 5-star potential, 4-star current ability the scouts told us he was going to have, but we didn't quite get all the scouting done on him. I can't quite remember. Either way, he is the best centre-back at the club and does, to me, look really, really good. 14 heading, 14 marking, 16 tackling. He's fast, he's strong, he's got some good positioning, he's got very good bravery, aggression and concentration and determination. All the areas that matter, for me, he looks quality. So pretty certain we're sorted at centre-back. Of course, if a good deal comes up, I will obviously be looking into it as well, but left-backs and centre-mids now, that's the priority. The thing is, right, which is quite frustrating for me, is if we look at Stransky, for example, 11 crossing, 11 dribbling, I can't find anyone who's got as good, not even better, as good as that, which is quite sad. Looking for players interested in signing for us, like this guy at Watford, for example. 7 to 9 and 8 is rubbish, isn't it? Perez, 8 to 11, 9 to 11, so could be as good, but it's not looking likely, is it? Inverted wing-back here, I mean, it's inverted, so you hate that already, but 8 and 8. It's not ideal, this. The only player who does look better, right, is the guy from Ludogorets, who is that right-footed left back / right winger with his 13-13. Do we... Obviously, we've got Stransky to fall back on. But do we give it a go? Right? Do we just give it a go and see what happens? He's not going to cost us much. Apparently between 1.5 and 3.6. Maybe it's an experiment. I mean, it's going to cost less than Veroni, isn't it? So, that's all right, isn't it? 3.2 million. How about, in fact, what we need to do is get rid of that, don't we? So let's cancel the offer right now. Go forward a day. Make sure we get rid of that future fee in there as well, because you don't want to see that. Player search. Where is he? Back there he is. Transfer. Make an offer. Add in percentage of profit from next sale. Remove. Put this up to 2.5 million. And suggest. They want 500k. Remove that. 2.7 million. They're happy with that. Okay. Let's just get him in. All right, what's the worst that can happen? A right-footed left back. I really don't like it. I really do not like it. But I think it's worth an experiment, right? Worth an experiment. Let's get rid of some of these future ways for him to make money. Bring that down to like £8,500. Bring that down. Suggest he wants 11 now. How about 9,000 and that? Suggest. Give him what he wants. Okay, it's fine. Worst comes to worst, he becomes a right winger for us, I guess, isn't it? Worst comes to worst, he becomes a right winger. And it's someone versatile to have on the bench as well, if anything. Versatility on the bench. And then going back to the centre midfield debacle, what I need to do before this, actually, is have a quick look. Who have we got registered in the team, right? Auto pick everyone. We've got only one non-EU player. That is Brian Araya. No one else counts as non-EU now, which is quite nice, because they've either picked up Gibraltar nationality or have some other nationality in there, which is EU. So actually, we can sign 2 non-EU players right now. So let's confirm that selection, because that's very good. Although apparently squad size is maximum 25. We've got 24 right now. Tyson Brown still counts as under 19. So we might have to get rid of someone potentially. But back to the search for centre mids. Well, in that case, we could be looking at this guy from Tunisia, who does look supposedly quite good. 4-star according to the scout report. 16 passing is big. Technique of 14, first touch of 14. He's not the best we've ever seen, and he's not a world beater. But making 72 appearances for Tunisia supposedly is right up there with the best players in our midfield currently. Doesn't dive into tackles, which is good, so he won't get a red card ideally. He's not going to be a world beater for us, but his previous 2 seasons for Tunis have been absolutely incredible. 30 appearances, a 7.71. He's in form. Right. Ask agent about availability, 4.6 to 7.75. Transfer, make an offer. Let's put it on 5 million then. 5 mil. Suggest they say 7.75. How about 5.5? They say 7. So let's go 6.25, which they agree to. Finalise the deal. Also a chap from China here with an £87 million maximum asking price. That suggests to me they don't want to let him go. Transfer status, he's listed for £87 million. Well, there's no harm in putting a bid in for him. He looks just as good as the guy from Tunisia. Not 87 million though. 5 million. They want 86. Okay, we're not going to get him. They've accepted the bid of £6.5 million, or nearly £6.5 million. He wants to be an important player. Let's make him a regular starter, right? Suggests that. He says important. Okay, important player it is. 27 grand on a 5-year deal. That's a long time. 4-year deal instead. Maybe even 3 years. No, let's go 4 years. Why not? Wage down to 22.5. Suggest he wants 27 on a 5-year deal. 22.5 4-year deal. We'll get. He's locked in 5 years, so he wants a 5-year deal on 21,000. Then he agrees to 21,000. Okay, finalise the deal. We'll get him in, and potentially he could be the last piece of the jigsaw coming into the club. Of course, after Dejan signs for us, as you can see, we're going to accept it. I was still not quite sure, but in the search for a left back, we might be looking for a right-footed player. I don't like it. I don't like it. Let's get him on intensive language courses, all right? But I don't know. I'm going to give it a go, though. It's worth an experiment. We've been quite lucky as well in the grounds that no one has been leaving the club, although Hannesson now wants to discuss a new contract. Pascal, can you sort this one out for me, please? Because I don't want to talk about new contracts with Hannesson. And he has done, actually. Thank you, Pascal. That's very kind. No conversation with Hannesson for now. I've lost my train of thought, though. So Hannesson's gone down in my estimations. Karamarko now wants a new contract. Akene, sort this one out for me, please. I was about to say, yes, that was it. We've been lucky that no one's been bidding for our big players. There's no one we really wanted to lose for a lot of money. So I'm quite glad about that. The only issue is now that people want new contracts because other players are coming into the club on bigger money. You know, £22,000, £27,000. That's a lot more money than players are currently on at the club. So they're seeing that and they're wanting a slice of that pie, which I don't want to give them. But if the guy from Tunisia can sign for us, that, I think, will be the end of today's transfer special. We've packed out the squad then. There's no more additions we can make to it without losing players, but I don't really want to lose anyone else. I think we've got a very well-balanced squad now that we've made strong additions to areas that we need to strengthen. Krenter now wanting a new contract. No, you can't have it. No one's having new contracts around here. Unless your contract's up for renewal, you're not getting one. Obviously, there is still quite a bit of time to go in the transfer window. So obviously, if bids come in, I will let you know. If other players come in, I will let you know. I can't see any of that happening, but it's always a good idea to keep looking for other players, as we are about to spend £7 million, including the add-on fee. In fact, no, only 6.5 of this. So basically, we can't even afford to bring anyone else in now. We'll have £500,000 left after this transfer. So the final transfer coming in is the man from Tunisia. I will work on the pronunciation of his name. I'm not going to try it now because I will get it all wrong and fail abysmally, essentially. So I won't say it right now. But for me, I think that's a good deal. He looked like a pretty solid player. And I think will come in as one of the best centre midfielders at the club, will help with rotation. I think the main thing this season is we're going to have a much better rotation system as he comes in, looking very, very good. Again, language courses, that'd be fantastic. But comes in quite literally as the best centre mid we've got. Idrissa is an attacking midfielder, Galina is a right back. So he comes in as the best centre mid we've got, which is fantastic. So if he can play over 30 games just as well as he did for the team in Tunisia, that would be a marvellous transfer for us on a 7.33 and a 7.71. So for me, that is that. That is the transfer window done. Let's just quickly recap on the players that we signed. Obviously, it's split over 2 seasons for some stupid reason. We started off by signing Idrissa Ferdinand in the attacking midfield. He's going to be absolutely quality. We then got Shom Leah in the left wing. Maybe the weakest transfer that we made, but it was quite a cheap one, and I think will be very good value for money when the season gets going. It'll be very, very good for us. Again, a little bit older. Some of these transfers are a little bit older. We've got some young players in the team, so I think it is good to get some older players in to help us out when it comes to tutoring younger players and developing the team a little better, so that's quite handy. Brian Araya is a fantastic young centre-back coming in from Argentina. 3.5-star current ability, but has got really good attributes where they matter. We've also brought in Dian from Ludogorets, an experiment. I'm still not sure on it, but I'll be honest with you, I think he could work out. Either left back or maybe right wing. I don't know which one of the positions yet, but I think will be a good transfer and good for further down the line. And then, of course, we've just seen him coming in from Tunis. This guy, who I'm not going to try and pronounce, a fantastic centre midfielder. Of course, as well as bringing in David Perez and Galena back in on loan. Only one player to leave, that's Veroni on loan right now. That's literally it. He's going to loan. Oh, of course, Razakin, Gonzalez and Gostas also leaving the club for minimal money, so nothing big there. But we didn't expect anything big when leaving the club. Now, next episode, I can't tell you when it's going to be, because it's going to be whenever the group stage draw for the Europa League comes up. We're into the group stages of the Europa League thanks to qualifying for its Viber League system last season. So next episode will be whenever that draw is. Not sure when it is, but when it is there, that'll be next episode. So I will look forward to that one tomorrow, and I hope you guys are as well. So thank you for watching today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. And of course, if you have done, drop a like on the video for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.